Hello everyone, Jared here, and it's the morning of my final day on safari. And we're ending off this trip by heading on a short trip to the Maasai village with our guide right here, who came to pick us up at about 7 in the morning for about a 15-minute walk over to the village. And along the way, we'd get to learn about the way that the Maasai people live here, which aspects of their traditions they decided to keep, as well as those that they've decided to go ahead and do away with, for the sake of improving their quality of living. One thing that became clear right away was the juxtaposition of the adults wearing the traditional garments, whereas many of the children were in school uniforms. When I asked the guide about this, he told us that about 2/3 of the children will end up going to school and moving away from the tribe, and 1/3 of them will remain home, continuing on the traditions. As long as they're still living in this area, the Maasai people still try to live off the land as much as possible, with as few outside influences as they can manage. They also like to reuse and recycle pretty much anything that they can. This includes things like their shoes that are made entirely out of used tires. We also got to see the various usages for all the plants that grow in this area, including the one that they use to make the dye for all their red clothing. However, there was one question I'd really been meaning to ask since I'd arrived here. So one thing that I've noticed is your ears are like mine right now, but other people, maybe they have the really long ears with the holes in them.
Like that is for beauty. That is for beauty.
Okay.
Because if you went to school, you don't cut the ears.
Oh, why is that?
Just cut a small one. Look, there's a small one.
Oh, there's a small one.
And also you remove two teeth. Like
Why do you remove the teeth?
you remove the teeth because Maasai traveling different countries, and then they look each other.
Oh, okay, so it's a way of knowing someone else is Maasai.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I would never have thought about something like that. I continued to ask him questions about what kind of jobs that the people in this area had in general, and for the most part, almost everyone here that stays in the Maasai village, as long as they're a man, is involved with the livestock in some way, whether it's herding them, raising them, or guarding them, and they rotate their shifts regularly. Anyways, before I knew it, we found ourselves at the entrance to his village. It was here that we were going to witness and take part in a traditional dance, which includes the famous jumping, as well as seeing how they make fire traditionally in this area, being invited inside of their homes, and once we arrived, we just stood around a little bit and continued talking, while other villagers gathered and prepared to welcome us.
Yeah, around here you have about 11 villages. A lot of villages.
Are most of the clans always staying kind of close to each other, or can it be very far away?
Maybe close and very far. We look now it's space because we went to another village there and we have another one there.
Eventually, when enough gathered, it was time for the performance to start. Now, after about just a minute or two, it was my turn to join in. They tossed a cloth over me and expected me to follow in their footsteps. It'll be quite obvious to you that I had no practice or idea that I was going to be taking part in any of this, so don't judge me too harshly. I was a little bit relieved that this part involving me didn't last too long. And it wasn't until a bit after I'd finished that they decided to finally go ahead and do the jumping part, which the others who were on the safari with me got to take part in instead. So sorry, but you won't be seeing me jump alongside of them. I'd always wondered why jumping was such an important thing to the Maasai people, and when I asked the guide about it, he had this to say.
Also, sometimes you have a competition. If you jump high, don't pay dowry if you get married. Because Maasai, if you get married, you're allowed to pay 10 cows for the family for the dowry. So sometimes you have competition. The one you get number one, you don't pay dowry if you get money.
With the welcoming ceremony over and done with, it was time to learn a little bit more about the village that we were staying in, and in particular, how they take care of their animals when there's so much wildlife freely roaming around them. Apparently, it's not uncommon for all the carnivores to come over to their village during the night and look for any food that they can find. Apparently, the wooden fences are much easier for the leopards to get inside of when compared to the chain link fences. We were told that leopards come here pretty much every night to all the various villages, and they'll go between each one and successfully find at least one animal to prey upon.
I can't believe that leopards come every single night. Well, I guess they know that food is over here if they want it.
Yeah.
And after a little bit longer of a discussion on this topic, we began to make our way through the village for the fire starting ceremony, where, yet again, my untested skills were put on the spotlight. But at least this time, I don't think I did such a bad job.
Yeah, sure.
I'd made enough embers that we were able to use them for making a fire, so at least I felt a little bit redeemed after that welcoming ceremony from earlier. And next, it was off to my guide's house to look at and understand the living conditions of the Maasai people. A little bit of a heads up, it's going to be rather dark inside, and this was not something that I was really prepared for.
Okay, so just come. This is a place here for the baby cow.
Oh, okay.
Baby cow. Okay, so this is my house. So the house, we have 4 rooms. The house I told you, the meadows wood and meadows down. Also, if we have the roof, is putting grass and cow dung. If you have raining, it's waterproof.
I had no idea that it would actually be so big on the inside.
Yeah.
It looks so much smaller from the outside, but when you're inside it,
You,
there's so many more rooms.
yeah, oh, good.
You've been living in this house for how long?
9 years. But he living now 6 years now.
Okay, so does that mean after about 3 more years, then you get rid of the house and make a new one?
Yeah.
And when you do that, do you move to a different location, or is it still in this area?
Yes, it's still in this area.
Okay.
Just you move the house from here, just close.
When you are moving, are you able to use some of the old house to help make the new one?
No. Yeah, he just everything new. No, you have putting the wood, like you put the wood like this my finger, and then you put the grass, and then sometimes you put plastic and dung,
Okay.
and then no rain. So now let's go outside. And also in the village there are some Maasai ornament.
All right.
So I go to show some. If you like, you buy.
Okay. Thank you very much for welcoming me into your house.
Yeah. Like Maasai say, Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe is thank you.
Ashe.
Yeah. Ashe.
Now that I was back outside, there were a bunch of villagers standing around us who guided us over to the market area where we could buy souvenirs and handicrafts made locally within the villages. There were a lot of different items on display here, and many of them involved completely unexpected animal parts that I didn't even know you could buy. So when I saw a necklace that had a lion's tooth, I knew I had to get that for a friend back home.
So that's going to be it for the Maasai village, and now it's going to be off to Nairobi again.
With everyone done shopping, the walk back to our accommodations down the road took about half the time of what it took to get there. And once we were there, we met up with our driver, got our things, and began the long, bumpy ride back to Nairobi, which I need to make a quick note about. Driving in Kenya can be a little scary sometimes, especially when you're going down your proper lane and vehicles are coming straight at you, only to dodge out of the way at the last possible moment. But anyways, I can talk about that traffic another time. That's going to be it for my Maasai Mara safari trip. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you come back next time. Thank you again for watching this video. If you liked it, please click the subscribe button down below and give the video a thumbs up. Also, please share this video as well as others from my channel to help this channel grow.